we're going to talk about the commercial real estate market and why a lot of people are saying that it's going to be like 2008. Danny, what do you think about it?
So I'm hearing on the news a lot about commercial real estate just because of the recent bank crisis going on.
Bank run, yes.
Yes, was SVB. A lot of it has to do with what I believe is that because of a lot of offices are vacant, they're not being leased, and since there's no money coming in to pay off those rents, then the commercial real estate mortgages could run default, and that could cause more bank failures.
No, they will. There's going to be banks are going to tighten up. But to your point about commercial real estate, I think a lot of companies, because of COVID, and they got really comfortable sending their people to remote. Now they want them to come back, right? Because hey, we're already in the hole for these office spaces. You need to come back so we can, get our ROI on the employees, right? Now, I know a lot of people that don't want to go back to the office, but they got really comfortable in their pajamas, and I know most of them binge watch Netflix and all this other stuff. If I'm a business owner, I want you to come in the office. If I'm paying for rent for an office, I want to see your face. I want to see you talking to other employees. I want to see you, where are you struggling? I can't do that from my office and in your office at home. What if you're busy or you're doing something, or you're doing a bathroom break or something? I got to be able to walk into your cubicle or office and see what you're doing.
So you believe that we need to micromanage people?
I think I don't trust people, so I think that I think 10% of the people will take advantage, even more.
Do less, not be as productive.
Not be as well. It goes both ways. I know people are more productive because they don't have that hour commute.
Oh yeah, because when I do that hour commute one way, I'm just demotivated away. Like, I just don't want to work. I'm just so pissed because traffic does rile me up. It boils me up. It pisses me off. It ruins my day. And when I'm in the office, I just want to cool off. So there's already like an hour or two of me trying to cool off, being pissed off at traffic,
Someone
and not really focused
off
at work.
Yep. But on the plus side, you can always listen to our podcast on the way home.
Oh, yeah, that too.
Catch up on that, get an extra view, an extra like. Who knows? But no, I think like a lot of industries, they just want you back. And a lot of companies are doing that. They're COVID, good 2 years, all these big buildings, the Wells Fargo building right down the street from me, 4 big buildings were vacant forever, and they're finally bringing people on, and a lot of people are like, they don't want to do it. A lot of companies are doing hybrid, right? So go ahead and pull up a little thumbnail that we have. Wow, here's why a potential crash in the commercial real estate market could look a lot like the 2008 crisis, according to one CEO. I 100% could see that. I can see that. There could be a saving grace. I don't know from who, what, where, but I still think we're the best country in the world, and I think we could figure it out. But then again, I didn't see 2008 coming. No one did, and everyone lost a lot of money, including me.
Yeah, I mean, if this were to crash as they foresee, we could lose a lot of jobs. This could be where we have unemployment on the rise with all these vacancies, because there's a lot of money in circulation, and it's going to be slowing down. And when that slowdown happens, that means more people are going to be without a job, rather. It makes me wonder, this whole campaign about bringing people back to the office, is it because they foresaw this crisis?
I don't know if they foresaw the crisis. No one foresaw this crisis, I don't think. It honestly came out of nowhere, and I think it started last March. So we've been like in the real estate market where, you're trying to buy a house. All these realtors, since March, and mortgage companies have seen a downfall. And they'll tell you like, oh, it's going to get better, but they have to tell you that because they have to sell you a home, right? And they have to sell you a mortgage. So I don't know if it's going to get better. There's a lot of people, like, have you ever watched Valuetainment? Those guys on Valuetainment?
Yeah, absolutely. I love those guys.
Oh, they're great. And they give you so much information. They don't believe it's going to go. They believe it's going to go up. They were talking about in May that there's going to be a 75 BIP that the Feds are going to raise it up 75 bips, and they could. They were talking that rates might go up in the double digits again. That's scary, but it can happen. The only scary part, the bad part about that is housing is quadruple what it was when rates were at that double digits, 10%, 11%. And the norm was 6-7% before rates started to drop. And then that 2.5% that people have, I don't think you'll see that in a long time.
Well, we have this influx that when mortgage rates went down and you see that 2 in front of it, then people are trying to get as much housing as possible. You saw the news with those lines behind to get a house, like people trying to get in these bidding wars.
Oh, the open houses and bidding wars. Yeah, that was a real thing.
Because of a value of the house, say it was like $300,000, and someone says they're selling it for $300,000. Oh, I'll give it to you for $310. Another person comes up, I'll give it to you for $320, and then it just keeps going up and up. And
well, that just happened recently. Over a year and a half ago, people were selling a house. They offered $450 and they got $550 for it.
But they only had that ability because mortgage rates were so low. Lending was cheap.
Correct. Lending was cheap. I mean, yes, you had a 3% interest rate. You couldn't afford a lot more houses.
Because of that run up of housing prices, and everyone's pulling up bringing up the housing prices as much as possible, and then boom, rates went up. Then getting money is not as cheap anymore. So there's no more of the run to just purchase property anymore, especially at today's prices. So now we have this pull and tug of there's property taxes really high, but they're slowly coming down, but interest rates are still high. So it's just trying to figure out how low will these housing prices go, because a lot of people bought at the high, and they're now underwater. They're going to take a hit.
Yep.
And, some people are very resistant right now. They're trying to sell it as expensive as possible. They're trying to flip it for money, and they're not willing to take that loss. But strong possibility that they're going to have to suck it up now, or it could be worse later.
I think, people have to buy. Think about the people that have to move across country or for their job or whatever it is. Their mom's sick and they want to be closer to home. Their rates, if you get a 5% interest rate right now or something in the 5s, that's actually really good. I've seen a lot of companies, high 6s, in the 7s, even the high 7s for good credit. And if you're trying to buy a rental property, forget about it. You're like high 7s and paying like 3 points to get that rate. It doesn't make sense. What this has also done is it's raised rent tremendous. Apartment, you can't even get an apartment for $1,500.
No, I think 1800s, about 17 or 1800s norm.
Oh my gosh,
on average,
that's insane.
In Arizona.
That's insane. People, wages aren't up. How can you afford that? Especially if you have kids. The easy answer, you don't.
You don't. I mean, and the country doesn't have money for programs or anything to help with this. It's just prices have to go down somehow. We inflated the money supply so much, and wages didn't go up. Well, they went up a little bit, not significant to where inflation is with prices and cost of living is. And now there's a little retraction to it, but it's still not retracting fast enough for people to have a decent living now.
No, you're 100% correct on that. And you're right about the government doesn't have enough programs to help people. That's a sad reality we live in, that a lot of those programs are off the board. So what do? You get a second job, and then what if that's not enough? I mean, there's just, people, the food banks are getting bigger, and I'm a big advocate of, help out the food banks, because there's a lot of people that their rents went up, gas is a lot, they don't have enough to buy food for their family, so they go to these food banks, getting the extra scraps and stuff. And I if you want to do something good, go donate to the food banks. It's going to a good cause. You know?
Canned foods,
and just help out with donations, because that's something we believe in is food banks, because you can't have starving kids. You can't. Once you have that, I mean, you as a parent, you start doing things that are in the gray, not necessarily in the black, but in the gray. You start. And it sucks, but that's what you do as human beings, right?
Yeah. So I believe that with the upcoming commercial real estate crisis that's coming up, if they don't figure something out now, this could trickle down to real estate, single-family homes. Reason why I believe that is that if there's no more money being lent for mortgages, if they're going default, banks are going to start going down and tightening up the money supply to lend, and because of that will affect housing.
Yes, I see where you're going with that. You're right. If there's a lot of default on the commercial side, the residential side is going to take a hit because it's going to get tighter to get into a house, right? You're going to have higher down payments, or you have higher credit scores. It'll be the guidelines will get tightened as far as that.
This is what I think, because inventory is so low. That's why prices are still high for houses.
Of course.
That's the one thing that's really holding up inflation today. But if money starts getting tighter and it's becoming more difficult to borrow to get a mortgage, and less people are able to qualify for a mortgage, there's no other choice but the inventory to go up in housing, and which could aid in reducing the prices of these homes.
Well, I think one thing why I think inventory is low is people don't want to sell their house because they have a low rate.
That too.
Right?
I believe that too.
Why
do you want to give up a 2%
I just
or
had a phone
3%?
call with someone today that has a 2.5 interest rates, wants to get another house or a different house. And I was like, dude, here's your rate. You're like a 7%. And he's like, why would I do this? I'm like, why are we talking? Why would you give up this house to get something else? You're at 2.5. Rent it out. If you really want to move and buy something, rent that out at 2.5 and go buy the house at 7 and call it a day. But he doesn't want. He's so stuck on the 2.5. You're not going to see that. You're not going to qualify for another house just because you had it once. A lot of people don't understand how that works. All you have to do is call your lender, or call someone you trust. Again, this isn't financial advice whatsoever, but that's one reason why you're seeing inventory low. People don't want to buy another house because their interest is low. Like I said, 2.5, and they have great credit, A+ credit, and their lender tells them, oh yeah, you're at 7%. They're like, no, you know what? I changed my mind. I don't like that house.
Yeah, there was a cycle where people would go up in a house, right? Just they have a house, they get some equity, get some money, sell for a little bit more than what they purchased it for, move somewhere else. But that cycle is over because people are stuck at that very low rate and they don't want to give it up.
Well, you got to look at it this way too. People used to refinance their house to buy another property, right? You can't do that now. 2.5, why would you refinance your house from 2.5?
That's not an option right now. Refinance is not an option.
Yeah, HELOC is. Go get a home equity line of credit. Yeah, the rate's high, but you're not refinancing the whole house. You're only going to take $100,000 out to go buy another property, but then the other property you're buying, you have to put 20% down, and the rate's going to be 7%, 8%, since in the investment home. So it's just tough right now as far as that's concerned. But the inventory, what if that's the new norm? Our inventory numbers were high. I think we're they used to be quadruple what they are now, but maybe it's because the rates. Time will tell, because we've never seen rates this low. That maybe now people are like, okay, I'm good where I'm at. I don't need to get that extra stress and buy more house or whatever, because you're not going to get much more at all, if any, value going into a 5% interest rate for a house that's a little bit bigger, but you're paying double for that. That's not worth it,
No. I've been house hunting lately, and it's ridiculous how expensive homes are. Just to find a decent home. I'm not asking for very much, like 3-bedroom, 2-bath, whatever. They're so expensive, especially.
What's the price you're looking at? What are you seeing out there?
So I'm looking like way east in like Santan Valley. There you can get a house for in the $370K for decent. Because here in in like Chandler,
Gilbert,
a lot of places in Phoenix, like Gilbert, you're looking at mid 400s for maybe decent. It's more. Maybe up to the 500s last time I checked. I just gave up looking in this area. It's so expensive. And it's just not worth it. It's just like those houses have no business being that expensive, but they are. A lot of them, people bought it last year or the year before at a very high cost, and they're just trying to sell it for a profit. They're not in the game to lose money. No one is. I understand that. But they're just hanging on, being resistant as much as possible.
Yeah, I don't know. Something's got to give, because housing prices are too dang expensive. But I could see them go up higher. To be honest, I could see them going lower. It all depends on what's going on in the world, right?
I mean, houses are being cut. It's just from the rate from where the price increased to how much they've been cut so far have not broke even yet.
Can you still something up that has like what the prices are the last couple of years?
Sure. Should we look at some houses real quick and just get some examples? Okay, let me pull this one up. Chandler, Arizona.
Let's do Chandler, where I live.
Okay, so
Chandler, Gilbert area, the two good spots in the East Valley.
Let's just look at the first house. This 725K.
All right.
So
let's look at this. Okay, it's 3-car garage. It's nice. This is kind of a big driveway.
Mm-hmm.
Very boring front yard, just rocks.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what else we got?
It's 2,986 square feet.
Good size.
Lot size is 8,375.
Okay.
Good area of Chandler. Let's see, scroll down a little bit. So this is where the listing price was. A lot of it's blank. They're asking for $725,000, but it was sold November 2021, so that's a year and a half ago, at $575,000.
Correct.
So this person's trying to make a $150,000 profit off this
is
in a year and a half.
Yeah. This guy bought it, did probably a little bit to the house.
And if I scroll down, the last number we can really see from 2022, $225,000 is what it cost back then. This is well before the financial crisis. I mean, given now that it's this house is 23 years old with appreciation. Yeah. I mean, what would it really be worth today? Should it be maybe 400s?
You would think. Go up a little bit. Look at, right there. Stop right there. 2012.
This is the bottom of the housing crisis. So 287,000, still above from when it first came out, right?
Because it sold for right there in 2009. We're in the housing crisis. It sold for 258, and then
but housing bottom at 2012. Stock market and everything crashed in 2008, but the bottom of the housing market was 2012.
Okay, so 287, and then it's coming up. So 10 years later, it more than doubled, right? Yeah, more than doubled. They bought
it for more than double. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, shouldn't it be about 15% to 20% appreciation? I mean, of course, there's a lot of factors. There's a lot of factors to it. I get it.
10% a year.
10% a year?
Yeah, 10%.
So it should double within 10 years?
Yeah, I get. Well,
I mean, there's other factors like the location, what's being built, the neighborhoods. I get all that, but I'd say on average, I thought it would be like maybe with the flow of inflation of 2% a year.
No, housing goes up a lot more than that. It goes up, depending on where it's at, anywhere from 5 to 10% on the average. On something like that, I don't know. To me, it's maybe $500,000 house.
Right now, if you were like, say, an appraiser, I don't know. Sure. I mean, there's the comps, like what the house is all in the area too.
I mean, there's nothing really too exciting about the front of the house.
I mean, just looking through it real quick. I mean, 3-car garage. It looks really nice inside. But for something in Arizona, really,
they painted it and looks like laminate flooring, nothing too great.
I noticed in house hunting, if a house is repainted, they just try to jack up the valuation as much as possible. Yeah. Because it looks nice.
It looks nice, but paint's expensive too, though, now.
Well, yeah, materials and everything is expensive.
Yeah. It looks like brand new carpet. It's not bad. I mean, it's not $700,000. It's $500,000.
Well, it's a $500,000 home.
Yeah, it's a $500,000 home.
I'd say so.
Again, but that in Scottsdale is probably $1 million.
Well, location, right?
Yeah.
Do you want to look at another house? Let's
look at that 1.75.
1.75.
Yeah, pull that up. 3749.
It's a huge house. Look at that island.
That house is $800,000 house before COVID.
Let's look. Let me scroll down here. So before COVID.
There it is. Yep. 885. Sold 885 2020.
Yeah. At 2018, 835.
835. See, I told you.
They sold it for a little profit in 2020, right? This is like when things were really heating up in COVID, right? And then it's been listed and then sold for the same price, essentially. Oh, no, this is like same data. Never mind. But then, oh, my God. So 2020,
they want double
885. Yeah. They want double. Like, come on, man. Like, 3 years, does it really need to appreciate
someone
double?
That's greedy. That's someone that's greedy.
Like, that is ridiculous.
Well, there's always a method to someone's madness. They'll tell you, oh, I did this, and that. Oh, did you create the lake in the backyard too? Like what? That's a lot of money, you know? No, that's an $800,000 house. Thanks for watching our clip. If you want to see more clips like this and you like our views, like the show, click here for some more clips. If you want to hear the whole podcast, watch the whole podcast, click here for the whole podcast. Remember, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and we'll get back to you. Thank you and have a great day.